As you know, there are refreshments in the back, and I encourage you at any point if you need something something nutritious, if you'll step in the back. We've also got bottled water back there. But thank you for being here. My name is Gray Weaver, and I am the director of bands here at Milton High School. I'm going to introduce our staff here in just a minute. A little bit about myself, though. I am a product of Milton High School. I came through the San Jose County school system, attended East Milton Elementary School, King Middle School, where I learned to play the tuba. And no, Miss Dodd was not my band director. She came my sophomore year of high school. But and then I attended Milton High School under Mr. Bell, graduated here in 1987. And my lifelong dream was to come back and be the band director at Milton High School. I told him that the day I graduated, and went off then to the University of Southern Mississippi for 5 years, getting my bachelor's degree in music education, then went to Madison Central High School's assistant band director. That's right outside Jackson, Mississippi. And then when Mr. Bell retired, he called me, put it in the paper. I came to put my paperwork in, and got the job, and that was 24 years ago. I finished my 24th year, starting year number 25. And so I tell people I'm living the dream. You know that's why. Thank you. And my sidekick, my work wife, but I'm going to let him introduce himself, but I'm good up to Mr. Michael Schultz.
Well, thank you very much. As he said, I'm Michael Schultz. I'm the assistant band director here. I'm also in charge of the jazz band, and we just put those results out today. By the way, if there's
anybody
yes, exactly. If your child plays trumpet and they're on the fence about doing jazz band, tell them to come talk to me. We do have a trumpet opening for that. I told the kids that earlier today, and I think someone forgot. But anyway, I'm starting my 9th year. Ending my 8th year, starting my 9th year here at Milton High School. I graduated at Tate High School 2003. Then I went to the University of Southern Mississippi to the top for several years, and I also played tuba. I'm still paying for those 7 years too. So. If you don't win the lottery, I would very much appreciate it. I got a bunch of student loans. But yeah, so my 9th year, I love it here. I could not think of anywhere else that I honestly would rather be. And it's just been a true blessing being around these guys working over there, being around the students most of all. And we've had a great first day of rookie camp, as you can probably tell. And we're looking forward to the next 3 days. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. He's also single, enjoys long walks on the beach. All right. Sorry. You'll, as new parents, you'll learn our relationship. We poke at each other all the time for fun. But we've also got some other staff members that are supplemented by our boosters and that are extremely important to us. And first, I'll introduce our percussion director. His name is Mr. John Whidden. John's right over here. John is just finishing up his 24th year as well. I'll never forget my first year. He walked up one day, and he graduated from Pace High School. Same year I graduated Milton, 1987. He walked up to a rehearsal about the second week of school and said, "Your drumline needs some help." And I said, "Man, you reckon?" Because they're running into each other, not knowing what they're playing. But he's been with us for 24 years and has been a blessing to us here. And then I'm graduating in 2014, working with us since she graduated, our color guard director now. Been for the color guard director for the past 2 years, Miss Samantha Berg. So when you hear the folks talk about Mr. John or Miss Berg, those are the two individuals they're talking about there, and they're both supplemented by our band boosters. And we've got some other folks that help him with percussion. Chandler Sedlacek. Chandler couldn't be here this evening. Oh wait, yeah, that's why he's not in here. He's out there working in the heat right now with the drum line. And Chandler graduated Jay High School about 3 years ago. And so 2015, and then we've got Miss Brittany Wilson, that's a color guard tech with us, and Brittany is from South Florida, Daytona Beach area, and you'll meet her later on as the year goes. But that's our teaching staff. We've also got some other individuals that help us out, Mr. Chuck Hendricks, Mr. Bill Roby, that help us out on the field. We've got a Navyman from out here at Whiting Field, Mr. Dominic Cavanis, that comes around. You'll see him as we get in the band camp. Also, some very important individuals with us on our staff. The band bookkeeper has taken that job for me, thank goodness, but somebody that I truly admire and respect, seeing that I sleep next to her every night, my wife, Mrs. Weaver, in the back right there. And she teaches business here at Milton High School. She just finished her 24th year. Originally, her maiden name was Newstetter. And so if you remember the old days of Berry Hill, her dad was a principal at Berry Hill. Mr. Newstetter is her father. But she does a lot of our bookkeeping work. We'll talk about Charm's office here a little bit later. but she's the one that's kind of responsible for the financial side of that. Also, our head chaperone that graduated here in 1986, Miss Sandy Kennedy. Miss Kennedy is a teacher at Hobbs Middle School, and so when it comes to chaperoning, you'll see her as well. Okay. A few other folks. Our announcer is not here. Mr. John Herbert's been with us for 24 years. You'll hear his voice when we get to the sneak preview. But guys, I do want to welcome you now. I want to welcome you to the Mighty Black and Gold family. We have a saying that says, "Together we are the Mighty Black and Gold." And when you start to hear the band dismiss a little bit later this summer, you're going to hear them shout that. And that together doesn't just mean the students. That is the parents. That is the Band Parent Association. That's the volunteers. Together we're all the Mighty Black and Gold. And we've got a product here, kind of a trademark that is the Mighty Black and Gold. And I want to welcome you to what we do here. You'll notice tonight you should have received an agenda. On the back of that agenda, you should have a summer calendar. If you didn't get one, we passed those out at 8th grade band day. They're also online. You should have another sheet of paper that is the car wash fundraiser, which we'll talk about a little bit later down on the agenda. And then you should have received a thick book, which is our band handbook. Now, I printed this document out. I think it's 28 pages. And this will be the only year that I'll give you one. It's usually online. It usually doesn't change from year to year. We always try to give them to new parents, because usually once you get that first year under your belt, you sort of know what's going on, and you can find everything usually online from there. But anyway, again, welcome. If you'll notice on our agenda, item number 2, we've got a very important group of individuals that help support the band, and you're part of them, even if you don't know that yet, and that is the Milton High School Band Parent Association. Now, we used to call this the Milton High School Band Boosters, and the parents would say, "Well, I'm not a booster." But we're known as a booster. You're a band parent, you're a band booster. So we changed the name, I guess, about 10 years ago to the Band Parent Association. We've got their leaders here. If you'll look in your band handbook at page 5, you'll see that they are listed there for you. And I do want to introduce them to you and ask Ms. Harris, our president, just a moment to come up and say a few words. But our booster president, if she'll wave to you from the back there, Ms. Rhonda Harris. Give it up for Ms. Rhonda. Our first vice president, Ms. Tamina Rollo. And our second vice president, Ms. Angela Perry. Over there on this side. Our secretary, Ms. Lisa Needham. And our assistant secretary, Ms. Shelley Allen, in the back. Our treasurer is not probably going to be here till about 7 o'clock at the earliest, he said, and that's Mr. Keith White. Our assistant treasurer, Ms. Jennifer Hewer. The back right back here. Some of these folks are greeting you guys who came in. Our trustee, it says to be determined. Mr. Tony Peach is our trustee, but he's having to step down, so we'll be working on that later on in the month. But our 2-year trustee, just starting her term, Ms. Lee Kilgore. She's in the back right back here. So this is your Band Parent Association Executive Board. Their contact information is there. They are here as parents to help you if you need help, to help answer questions, along with Mr. Schultz and I. These guys have gone through it. One thing that I did not share with you earlier, and I meant to share with you, is I'm a band parent too. I've had our oldest daughter has come through the program. She's starting her 3rd year this upcoming fall at University of Southern Mississippi, and I have our youngest daughter's a senior flute player in the band. So not only am I a band director, I'm also a band parent. So I get that side of things too. I get to go home and complain about the band directors and all that kind of stuff when I get home. So, but anyway, Ms. Harris, if you want to come up and say a few words about our Band Parent Association. You want that? Okay, good. That's the best speech.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. You'll be seeing us a lot through the year. We always need volunteers. You'll learn charms. You'll go through charms and let you know. There's sign-ups on there. We always need volunteers. Lots of jobs. You guys help us make the money to keep the fees low. So,
thank you. And guys, by them earning the money that they earn, we're able to supplement a lot of what the band does to keep our fair share down, so that we have a lot more participation. Otherwise, our fair share would probably go about $150 to $200 a kid, and we don't want that. So you are a part, as you can see on here, you're a part of the MHSBPA because your kid is in the band. We want you to come out and be a part. Here's the beauty that I always enjoy about the Band Parent Association. Those friendships and bonds, those that participate in that, they start developing friendships as well, and that sense of community amongst themselves and so forth. So I encourage you to come be a part of that. You can see on here, they meet right here in the band room the 2nd Tuesday of each month at 7 o'clock. So the BPA meetings, and I'll refer to them now as the BPA, meets in the band room the 2nd Tuesday of every month. We try to send out an email reminder about that, for the second Tuesday, 7 o'clock right here in the band room. Every once in a while we have to move it to a different location on campus, but we also put that out. Is that a big bug I just saw fly by? Wow. Okay. It looked about the size of a golf ball when it came by here. It's a jazz fly, yeah. We have a fly every time after jazz band we're eating lunch again. There's always a fly, and I call him the jazz fly. You'll notice on here as well that our parent volunteers this past year documented over 10,000 volunteer hours. Okay, we try to keep track of all those hours. Now, there's two different sides of the volunteer hours. One is through the Band Parent Association, which is our philanthropic arm, our money-making arm of the band program. Okay, and then, of course, the other side is through Mr. Schultz and I, through the student side, student-related side, such as chaperoning and that type of stuff. But over 10,000 hours that were documented this past year. And we also have a volunteer incentive program. We'll talk a little bit later about our fair share donation, which is $300 for the year. However, parents, by working at the money-making events, the concession stands, at the football games, you can work 3 different shifts, where the shifts are 4 hours or more, work 3 different shifts and knock $25 per shift off of that, so that your fair share ends up being $225 for the marching season. Okay, so the volunteer incentive program, that's what that is by volunteering at 3 different events, $25 per event. The shift needs to be 4 hours or more. You can knock off $25 each time. So not only do you build friendships volunteering with the BPA, you can knock some money off your fair share. Okay, so I encourage you to do that and come out as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I put on here the sign-in process, and we're doing that a little bit different. It's so important when you do come out to volunteer for anything with us, please sign in with us, okay? We've got, a matter of fact, something new that we're started. We've used, backs of pizza boxes and notebook papers that are all wadded up and so forth. But what we're going to start doing is using the technology that we have at hand. And if you'll notice right below that on your agenda, for tonight's meeting, there's a QR code. I do ask if you've got the technology, if you will sign in, and there's actually asking you about some areas that you would like to volunteer by using that QR code. If you have an iPhone, you simply take your camera, pointed at it, and this little window is going to pop up. It says open QRS and Safari window. Just hit yes, and all of a sudden it'll take you to the link, the Google Doc link or Google Form link, where you can fill out that information. We ask for your student's name, last name, first name, or for you, and then you can mark the volunteer stuff on there. Okay, we're going to be using that as well this year at our concession stands as folks are chaperoning and so forth. If you don't have a smartphone, some of the folks around you probably will. It takes about 2 minutes to go through that process.
If you have an Android, the one that I use and I seem to like it is QR Droid, and it's pretty easy.
And most all that stuff, all those
It's
apps are free.
free app.
Right, they're free apps. So some kind of, if you got an Android phone, put that on there. I didn't say that out loud. Sorry about that. You just download a QR code, open that code, it'll open the camera, scan it, and all you do is when you click on it, it takes you to that Google Doc where you put in your stuff. What that does, we used to pass out paper. We've killed a lot of trees here in the band room, I'll tell you. Okay? We used to pass out a lot of paper. What that does is keeps us from having to collect the papers, and someone like myself with the volunteer forms a few years ago, sitting there for hours inputting everybody's information database program. By using this Google form, it sends it straight into the program where we already created the document. It saves about, probably 6 to 7 man hours of inputting 200 and something, students and parents' information in the computer. So help us out by doing that, okay? Make sure that you always sign in when you volunteer. I mentioned earlier the volunteer opportunities, guys. We need your help, okay? I told you together we are the Mighty Black and Gold. We're going to need help starting as early as this summer. We start band camp. If you have a medical type background, we have a medical tent that we keep out on the field during band camp, okay? So when students go down, we send them over to the medical tent and get them, pumped back up. A lot of times, most of the time they haven't eaten, they haven't been drinking the way that they need to. Get them pumped back up, push them back out onto the field, and get them going. If they overheat, we cool them down, get them hydrated, get them back out there. We need help as the years go in chaperoning. We need help with uniform alterations and so forth. We'll talk about uniforms a little bit later. We need help a lot of times feeding the band. You can imagine we're trying to feed all 230 of them pizza. We need help back here in the concession stand right here behind the building, passing out, throwing out two pieces of pizza to everybody that comes by. That's on the band side of things. We need help with it as well on the band side with equipment, moving equipment on and off the field for halftime, moving equipment from the band room to the stadium, getting equipment trucks and trailers to the locations where we're going. We also need help, of course, on the booster side of things. concession stand. All the home football games, we rerun the away side concessions. We have a concession trailer. We do some of the bands on the Blackwater. We do the mud races. We do some community festivals and events out here. You probably know us from our Shish Kebabs. Okay, our Shish Kebabs are an official mascot of the Milton High School Band Parent Association. Okay, I keep saying we need to have a little cartoon one drawn up with a smiley face, but we need help, and it takes everybody. And I promise you this: some of you, I see Nikki over there that came through the band. I know Angie came through the band, and we got parents. I'm already at that point where I've already had kids graduate of students, and I've taught their parents. But it takes all of us to make this thing happen. I promise you this: it's going to be kind of a little overwhelming at first, and as we make our way through the year, it's all going to start to make a lot more sense. And then we get to the end and we stand up there at the band banquet at the end of the year, and you look around and you've really learned to grow to love all these kids that are in the band and see how hardworking they are. It'll make a lot more sense. So we're here, and what we're doing tonight is to try to communicate with you the opportunities that are there. We do our best to communicate in as many ways as possible you're going to see to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and so forth. So plenty of volunteer opportunities. Please come out and do that. Please be part of what we got going on there. Item number 3, this year's marching band. Now, I will tell you, when I came here 24 years ago, I had about 90 in the band. My second year, I had 78, because I'm a new guy. I knew about 12 people, so they were going to quit it because they didn't like the new guy, because he made all these changes, changed the name of the band and all that. And I guess back about 2005 or so, 2004, when they were building this band, and I was sharing the story earlier, we had about 110, 115 in the band. They said, well, how big do you think the band will get? I said, oh, we'll never hit 175. Well, of course, we built a band room for 175. And now we're at 200 total in the program, about 245 or so in the program right now. Okay, so when you walk in here, everybody in here, it's pretty tight, but hey, what a blessing, right? Right now, we're looking at about 220 plus members in the marching band, around 225 or so, give or take. As the summer goes, we'll have kids that'll move in, kids that'll move out, some kids that'll quit, some kids that can't handle it. And so it'll fluctuate between now and the band camp. It always does. Our halftime show this year, Mr. Schultz has put out our promo video on our YouTube channel, but it's called The Courage Within. Okay, and it is as we sat down back in March to plan this show, we had some musical ideas, and we were trying to come up with something that had a positive message. Something that was, even we're at away stadiums and we perform the show, we want people to go, yeah, I dig that. That's good. And so that's what our show is about this year, is finding that courage. A lot of times in life we see a door that may be a door of opportunity, but we don't always want to go through that door because perhaps somebody has put us down, told us we're not good enough, and so forth. And that's what this show, that's kind of the message of this show, that yes, you are good enough. The message is yes, we need to encourage each other. And so I encourage you, and we'll share a little bit later, to go on our YouTube channel and check that video out. And I see Mr. Schultz, who's over chomping at the video, want to show that video. But, yeah, we're good, okay. But that'll be this year's halftime show. You'll get to see a glimpse of that once we start band camp a little bit later in July. We'll start putting the halftime show on the field, and we'll do a big sneak preview at the end of band camp, over in the stadium. We'll do it so that you can see what we've got on the field of the halftime show at that point. Handbook. Let's look at the handbook. This is the bulk of what we're talking about tonight. I'm going to kind of go page by page and just hit highlights. I'm not going to read anything to you because I know this handbook inside out and upside down and backwards. But you see that when you flip the page up, you see our dear students, that's our welcome page. If you look at page 3 right there, you're going to see this is pretty much our syllabus for the band classes. Now understand this. Here's the important part. At high school, band is what we call a co-curricular subject. What that means is that what happens after school relates to what goes on during school. What goes on during school relates to what goes on after school. So we're in here practicing during the school day, getting ready for the marching band stuff that we got after school during the first part of the year. Okay? What that also means is that when we go after school at night, on Monday night, Tuesday night, that's related to what goes on in class, so that's part of their grade. So if a kid all of a sudden says, well, I'm not coming to after school practice, that's going to affect their grade in band. It's co-curricular. Does that make sense to everybody? So they don't come to football games, that'll start to affect their grade because it's co-curricular. So it's kind of one and the same. They're part of a program, and so I want you guys to make sure that you're aware of that. Notice on the bottom, I put in bold down there, we do have a rehearsal and performance attendance policy. Now guys, you'll learn of this about us. We put everything out in as many formats as possible. We've already got our calendar through this whole school year. Probably by the time we get to November, we'll have the calendar ready for next school year. Okay. Okay, so we try to get this stuff out, but excused absence will include the following: sickness, death in the family, or extreme crisis type circumstances. I'm going to read this because it's important. All absences will be reviewed by the staff on a case-by-case basis. Absence appeal forms must be completed the very next day that the student is in attendance, regardless of whether you think they'll be excused or not, and placed directly on Mr. Schultz's desk. At the back of this packet, I'll show you when we get there, is an absence excuse form. Part of what we do here is help prepare these kids for life, for jobs and so forth. And we always tell them when they don't show up for practice and we don't hear anything from them, they show up the next day, we're like, where were you? I overslept. And we talk to them about life and about, well, if this were a job, what would happen? If you didn't show up to your job, what would happen? So this paperwork is sort of the documentation for them to get it excused so it does not affect their grade. Does that make sense to you? If they don't fill out absence appeal form, we deduct the points from their grade. If they fill out the absence appeal form, most of the time it's excused unless they went to a concert at the Bayfront Auditorium or whatever, and missed a football game. That's not an excuse like that. An attempt should also be made to contact Mr. Weaver, Mr. Schultz to report foreseen absences and tardiness from rehearsals and performances. We put the band room number in there. You'll see several times in here you'll receive an unexcused absence until a decision is rendered and all makeup work has to be turned in. So if they miss, here's what we need. Let's say that we've got after-school rehearsal on Thursday. At 5th period, they're sick. They were in band 3rd period, but they're sick. They go home. A phone call, an email, a text to say Susie came home throwing up, to let us know where they are. So as we start rehearsal, we know Susie's not going to be there. And again, guys, we're working with 220 plus kids. So, anything that you can do to let us know that we have an answer machine in the office, please call the band office. Leave us a message so we know where Susie is. Okay? Then when they get back, usually a note from the parent, or if they had to go to a hospital or doctor, a note from the doctor hospital attached to that absence appeal form, they leave it on his desk. Okay? Is there questions about that aspect? Is that clear as mud? We're good? Okay. Flip page. Let's move on. Though the absence appeal forms are located, the kids will tell the students this are located. There's a drop box right in front of our office, that big wooden box that Mrs. Weaver is pointing to. They're located in the front of that box, along with money collection envelopes as well when they go to make payments. Is all located right there in that drop box. The absence appeal forms are usually in the back. They can also be found on our website at miltonhighschoolband.com, which we're going to show you a little bit later here as well. Flip the page. We're on page 4 now, philosophy of the Milton High School Band. I want you to understand what we're about. This is extremely, again, important to me that you understand. First, you see right here, it's about a high-quality product or performance organization in which all stakeholders can be proud of. Hopefully you've had a chance to see our band. Okay? We want a band program that folks are not embarrassed by, but they're proud of. And I hope that Milton's proud of the Mighty Black and Gold Band. We've worked hard to build it to what it is. Okay? Stakeholders are not just us and the kids, it's you guys, it's other teachers at the school, administrators, other students at the school, folks in our community. That's the stakeholders. The way that we know that that's going on, we want high-energy, entertaining performances. We want structure and discipline in our rehearsals, performances, and free time. That's one of the things that we're going to push with kids is self-discipline and discipline as a group. They have to stand still together at attention. You probably already heard about Pride Block today. Yeah, okay. So, but, we're trying to teach them things that are going to help them beyond high school band. And I hope you understand that. Consistency in all program aspects. We want all of our performing ensembles to be good. If not, we keep reevaluating those and we figure out what resources we need to make them great. Whether it's our jazz band, whether it's our indoor color guard, whether it's our indoor percussion, whether it's one of our 3 concert bands. Okay? Good communication, members and parents. Guys, we do everything we can to communicate. Sometimes we get frustrated. We've got about 6 or 7 ways that we communicate and put words out. And then some parents go, y'all are awful communicators. It's like, man, we're doing everything we know to do. So good communication is key, and that's one reason that we asked you to come here tonight, so we can kind of get everything in your hands. Integrity throughout the organization. Guys, I want transparency in everything that we do. If you ever have a question about anything, we don't have anything to hide. We're not making money on the side. Matter of fact, we're way underpaid for the amount of hours that we spend. You'll see that as we go through the year. But integrity, the way that we make decisions, everything is about being truthful and having integrity in what we do. We tell the band that image is everything. And as a band program, as us as staff, image is everything. Reputation is everything. A sense of belonging and ownership for all stakeholders. We want you to feel like you're a part of the Mighty Black and Gold Band, as well as your students. Notice number 2 here. To instill and reinforce the qualities that are going to help members be successful in life beyond their high school years. That's what I'm talking about. We'll have very few music majors, and I say that kind of jokingly because now we've got about 6 or 7 that are majoring in music right now at different colleges. We just signed 12 college scholarships this year. Yeah, 12 to colleges. That 12 of our students that got band scholarships at different colleges around the Southeast. But what we're trying to do again is help them to be successful in the workforce after high school, or if they go to college after high school, just like you are. We're trying to teach the same qualities: teamwork, integrity, self-discipline, responsibility, self-confidence, work ethic, dedication, goal setting, communication, and positive attitude. Okay? And there'll be times that you're like, man, they're going to kill my kid. I'll tell you, 9th grade boys sometimes, you hear me? Okay? Trust us. Sometimes we'll get them in there, and I've seen parents that I'm sorry, my son, we'll take care of it. We've been doing this for years, and what I always love is to watch the growth between their 9th grade year and their senior year. 9th grade, they can't remember where they put their shoes. Where are my shoes? Did I send my shoes? Did I leave my shoes at home? Do I have to have shoes? Okay, to that 12th grade year when we're at the band banquet, and you watch those parents that are putting the medallions around their senior's neck, and you see them all crying, and we're crying with them. Okay, so trust us in that. We're trying to teach them those qualities to help them be self-disciplined, to help them be responsible. Okay, and we'll need your help on that side too. The third point there, which is important to me as well, is to provide opportunities for members to create memories and relationships they can cherish for a lifetime. I told you I came to the Milton High School Band program back in the mid-'80s, and I still look back and think about the time the band went to do the Super Bowl halftime show at Tampa, and the charter bus broke down at 3 o'clock in the morning on the side of the interstate around Lakeland. It ran out of diesel, and I remember that it was cold between Tampa and Orlando. But to make those memories, they're not going to remember exactly what we played for what year for the halftime show, but they're going to remember the time that so-and-so fell down in the football game right in the middle of the halftime show, and everybody had to jump over them. Okay? They're going to remember that band trip here, that trip there that we took. And that's the third part of what we're about. Notice our mottos there: work hard, play hard, and image is everything. You'll hear us talk to the kids about that all the time. You'll see us. There are times that we work really hard, but there are also times that we play really hard. Okay? And we talk to them about image. We talk to them about what we do in the stands, what we do from the time we leave the band room here that other people see, whether they're on the bus ride, with 6 or 7 school buses followed by a band truck that'll have our name on the side of it this fall, where folks will know that's the Milton High School Band, and they'll look to see how those kids are behaving. We talk about that, and we preach that to them. You'll notice as well on here, MHS Band staff, I mentioned those folks to you there earlier. Notice MHS Band student leadership. You probably already heard, I'm sorry, that was weird. You probably already heard about their leaders, okay? And probably some complaints possibly even after today. And listen to me, I want you to know the student leadership is simply what it is. It's a leadership learning type thing. With just me and Mr. Schultz being the 2 full-time guys that are hired by the school to be here with 200-something plus kids, we rely on our leadership to help get things done. But it also allows our students to take some ownership in the program. We tell them all the time, we get paid for what we do, and we're going to do the best that we can because we have pride in it. But it's our student leaders that really help determine to steer the ship in the direction that we're going. And so these student leaders go through this process. Not only are they voted on by their peers, they have to go through formal interviews with Mr. Schultz and I. They have to meet a criteria packet of different things that they have to do. Okay? Student leaders are going to make mistakes. Your kid's going to come home sometimes mad as a hornet with their student leader. Okay? But what they're also learning in this process is how to work with others. I've worked for some folks, maybe not in high school, because I wouldn't say that if I had. I've worked for some bosses that I didn't necessarily care for. But I had to learn how to work with them. Okay, what we always tell our kids is to do whatever they ask you to do. They have the authority of the band director unless it's illegal, unethical, or immoral, or if it'll hurt you. Okay, don't jump off the roof if your section tells you to jump off the roof. But we always tell them as well, if there's an issue, there's a hierarchy, a chain of command for them to go through that leads up to our drum majors and eventually us. These student leaders are also there to kind of buffer us. You can imagine how many questions on a football game Friday that we get at the office. If we didn't have student leaders for them to go to and say, what color socks do we need? We would probably hear that about 60 times the first football game. Even though we've told them probably 10 to 15 times before that question. So that's your student leadership team. You see them all listed there. We have drum majors. We have a captain, co-captain. Each section has at least one section, depending on the size of the section. Some have as many as 3. Usually once we hit the 10 to 12 mark, we start, of members in that section, we start adding a second person. And then once we hit the 24 mark, we start adding the third section leader. You'll also notice that we have uniform officers that are in charge of uniforms. We have music officers that are in charge of our music library back there. They see for their music needs. And we have instrument facility officers that kind of ensure that everything on the practice field is put away at the end, that the band didn't leave trash, that makes sure that everything is where it's supposed to go in the band room. Again, we're overcrowded. So you'll see that list of folks. You'll get to meet them at the band lock-in. Not the band lock-in, the band sneak preview. It'll take place later this summer. Flip to the next page, page 5. We've already seen this one earlier. But you'll notice at the top, me and Mr. Schultz, we have our personal cell phone numbers on there. We have our school emails on there along with the board. I do ask one thing, though, that you are considerate of us after hours. If it's an emergency, please don't hesitate to call or text us. But if it's a, hey, what time's the band meeting on Friday? Remember that we have lives. Well, some of us have lives outside the band room. Okay? I try. But I do that. Ask that you're considerate of that as well. 10:30 at night, I'm enjoying a movie with my family, and I get one of those texts, and I go, that could wait till Monday. But anyway, that's our contact information. Again, Sandy Kennedy, our head chaperone, contact information is there as well. Okay, let's flip the page. Let's move on. Some of these we're going to be able to jump pretty quickly. Now we're on page 6. If you will notice, find us on the web. I talked about all the different ways that we disseminate information. Number 1, and I'm going to let him share this with you once I get done with this page, is our band website. Our band website is MiltonHighSchoolBand.com. Mr. Schultz is going to show you around on that a little bit. But also, look at the next one, Milton High School Band YouTube channel. This meeting will be on our YouTube channel, in probably 3 to 4 days. There's a camera right there. Didn't know if you even noticed that. Our concerts, all of our football game performances, pretty much all of our concerts goes onto our YouTube channel. You can go back for what, 5 years now?
At least 2014.
Yeah, so right at 5 years this year. You can go back and see pretty much all of our performances. We have our own YouTube channel. Okay, so check that out. Facebook, like us on Facebook. Usually anything that we put out there, post to our Facebook page. We have a band page, Milton HS Band on Facebook, and we have a MHS BPA page, which you can see the link is there. It's under Milton High School Band Boosters. Started a few years back. Okay? The Black Gold Percussion Ensemble, our drum line, they have their own Facebook page that Mr. Whidden runs. The Milton High School Color Guard has a Facebook page that Ms. Bird runs. Okay? So if your kids are involved in those, you'll want to like those pages too. As parents, yeah, we want you on those pages as well. We don't have anything to hide. Okay? Charm's Office. He's going to go over this with you just a minute. Charm's Office is a program that we've been using now, I guess for about 5-6 years. 9 years? Before you got here?
No,
Okay, this will be our 9th year on it. There's a database program. We're going to show you how to log in. This database program has our interactive calendar where you can sync your smartphones. So where anytime that we add something to the calendar, it syncs up with your smartphone. He's going to show you around it. It's got some great tools. We also use a Remind texting program. You can see down there. There are some band parent text groups. Now, we don't text out everything through Remind, mainly stuff that we need to get to you quickly, such as we're coming in from the Fort Walton Beach football game. One of the buses has a flat. We're delayed 30 minutes, and so we will text all band parents and say, hey, we told y'all it would be in 11:30. The band had a flat tire. One of our buses had a flat tire. It's going to be 12 midnight. So that, we'll use it for quick turnaround type stuff. You can see we use it on our band trips. You can see that each performing ensemble also has a Remind texting group. Marching Band, Symphonic Concert Panther, our student leadership team, percussion, color guard, jazz band. And you can see what you need to put in your text box right there at Band Adults. And you can either text it to that 5-digit number or to that, 10-digit number. Okay, either or for the reminding text. So, in saying that, I want Mr. Schultz to give him a few minutes here to talk to you about our website and about Charms. So give it up, Mr. Schultz.
So I've been trying to show you all as he was talking where you can find all this information on the website. But this is MiltonHighSchoolBand.com. MiltonHighSchoolBand.com. Don't get confused with Milton HS Band, which we do use in Charms, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But Milton High School Band, if you have a question about what's something that's coming up or just want to know something about the band, this is where I would suggest you start first. This is the hub of information, and on here you can go through each tab. There's lots of cool things on here. But the handbook, for example, under About MHS Band Documents, boom, right there, along with the other stuff we handed out to you today. And I try and keep this as up to date as possible. In fact, I just updated this right before this meeting with the most recent documents. If you have a question about charms after of course you can always ask us, but if you're at home and you couldn't remember how to access charms online, I have a charms page right here. Read through it, tells you exactly what your password's going to be. I'm going to come back to this, but and how to access that. Also down here, I went ahead and put the calendar syncing procedures, guys. You don't know how awesome it is to be able to see everything that we do on our calendar. I say awesome. It also can be overwhelming because you'll see exactly everything that we do on there. Right now, there's most all of that in the fall is stuff that you have to that we'll need you to attend. When we get to the spring semester, that's when we take our 220 piece ensemble. We break it into eight different little ensembles. And at that point, you have to figure out: am I in concert band, panther band, am I in JV guard, or am I in the percussion ensemble? But just know, if you want to get that set up with your calendar right now, that's how you do it. Go there.
That's also in your band handbook.
Yeah. And there's tons of other little tabs that you can read through. Eventually, we have a former student that's making a Milton High School band video game that I'm going to be putting up here. So I'll let you know when that happens. But anyway, there's that. Now, charmsoffice.com. You may have received some emails. Actually, you should have received several emails, or at least a couple emails over the past 2 weeks. Whenever we had band day, we had our students come in here and get on laptops, and they gave us they signed up for this. They gave us all the information so we could get this uploaded on Charm, so we can get you the information, the emails and phone numbers and all, or get your emails so we can send it out. This is what we use to get those mass emails sent out. In fact, the weekly updates, I just sent one out yesterday, which I'm not going to be sending one out for the next several weeks, if we're going to go home vacation, but that's what I use to send out. I take that email, I copy and I paste it directly on our website, on our home page. And the moment I do that, it also gets shared to our Facebook page. So everything on our weekly emails and everything that we send out also gets on here, right on our home page. So anyway, back to Charms. How do you access Charms, Mr. Schultz? Well, this is what I'll show you. You go to charmsoffice.com, and in the top right-hand corner, you'll see a little login button. You can either click that or scroll your mouse over that, but you're going to go to the Parent Student Members link. This right here, this is where you're going to type in Milton HS Band. See? So it's not Milton High School Band, Milton HS Band. Type that in, that gets you access right off the bat to several stuff without even going to your child's account. Or we want to get you to their account. So this is what you do. Let's see.
You can see the calendar and stuff. You can see the icons.
Yeah, you can see these. We haven't really put any handouts yet. We'll probably be putting medical formulas. That's in the handbook. Is that in the handbook? Okay. All right. So, the first time that you log into your account, you're going to have to change your password right off the bat. Of course, I forgot my password. Hang on, give me a second.
Just star.
There you go. Okay. Now, what's your initial password? Your initial password is your child's last name, all lowercase, your child's last name and graduation year. And in the case of all the freshmen, it's 2022. Your child's last name, graduation year. Now, there are several students this year that had the same last name, more than other years. If you have the same last name with the same graduation year as someone else in band, what we do, I put the first name initial, with the last name and the graduation year. If the first initial happens to be the same initial for two students, which happened 4 times this year, it's going to be the first 2 letters of the first name, and then the last name, and then the graduation year. Okay? So, whenever you get on Charms, whenever you have that chance to go and play around with it, do all that first. If you still have problems trying to get onto your account, email me. I'll take care of it. I'll let you know exactly what the password is. But once you get into your account, this is where you get really big access to everything. Of course, our calendar, which is also on our website, is here. But if you forget that it's on our website, you can go here. From here, you can see that we are busy bees here around the band room. Everything that we're doing this week, everything that's due. For Mr. Weaver mentioned volunteer things. The BPA has several stuff this summer, bands on Blackwater, the mud races. And anytime that we need volunteers, you'll see a little hand right here. I don't know if you can, it's hard to make out from there. But
Multicolored fingers.
Multicolored fingers. You click on that and it'll bring you up to this page. Look at people who have already volunteered. Thank you so much. But you come in here and all you got to do is you sign up for your name, put your cell phone number and email address, and that'll let us know that we have this many people volunteered, or we have these folks, we're expecting these folks to be here at this event. You'll do that for not just PPA events, but also for football games when we need chaperones. Do we want to go over the procedures for that? No, probably not this week. Okay, so if you want to chaperone a football game, be it away or home, we'll have that up as well. In fact, you can go to our football game days now, and I don't think the volunteer list is up there, but you can at least see what those days are. Let's see.
Let me say this: when you put your email address, your cell phone on there, the other folks cannot see it. We're the administrators. We're the only ones that can see it. So if you're afraid of somebody getting your email address or whatever off of there, they can't see it.
Yeah,
all those poor people signed up.
what you see up here is exactly what anyone else sees. We see all the other information.
We see it.
So don't if something comes up and you have to reschedule or you can't make it, obviously you want to make sure you call. And I want to say usually on these for the BPA events, I guess your go-to would be
The handbook.
in the handbook. Yeah.
You got the officers in the handbook.
Yeah.
Let them know, if you will.
All right. So that's a lot of. I just wanted to show you where if you want to do a quick sign up. There's obviously a volunteers tab. And right now we don't have a whole lot showing. We will add quite a bit more as the season goes on. All right. Let's see. Absences. This is also where we go to mark absences. I've been a good boy. I haven't missed a thing in 9 years. So here, if you did miss something, one of the first things I do after the rehearsal is done, I go in and I mark so-and-so is absent. There's a checklist that I do. What I encourage you to do, and I tell them every year, and there's always it never fails. People wait till the last of the 9 weeks to get these things cleared up. Make sure you stay up to date. Look at that periodically throughout the 9 weeks, and make sure that I haven't made a mistake. Because if I've made a mistake, it's actually Mr. Weaver that made that mistake. So
Kids will show up late or something. They had an appointment. They'll come to rehearsal, but they'll forget we've already checked rolls, so they won't check in.
yeah, they won't check in. So if there's a mistake there, obviously you can let me know. But you also want to see. It's also kind of keeping track of did your child actually go to band practice, or did they tell you they were going to band practice but actually went somewhere else? So it's kind of check and balance. Also, at the end of the year, we have letter and bar stripes things that this directly applies to when it comes to absences. The big thing that you want to know is how do I know how much I paid, and that's the finances tab right here. So eventually down the road, Mr. Reaver's going to talk about the fair share, or has already mentioned the fair share, but eventually everyone's going to get charged out what the fair share is, and it'll show up here. And Mrs. Weaver does an outstanding job of keeping this up to date as she can. I want to remind you that Mrs. Weaver is also a teacher, and she has to teach 6 classes, well, with some of those classes being multiple classes in one period. So she tries her hardest to keep this up to date, but her students come first when it comes to that. So
when the check goes in the box, it doesn't immediately appear online.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
sometimes they'll say, "My child put a check in this morning; it's not showing." So, well, listen, we have band practice, a football game, and so forth. Sometimes you may need to give us a week or so to get things cleared out of the box, or a couple of weeks from the box to the computer. So, yeah.
now, a couple things with this. You can make online payments. You can do that through Charms, and that's through the miscellaneous, right, Mrs. Weaver? I'll click it anyway. Yeah, see, so you can make an online miscellaneous payment, and what this will take you to this page, and you can type in whatever amount you want right there and tell it what it's for. Fair share in the miscellaneous, it's that's where we put all the fair shares. That's where we put all all the fundraisers and everything. You saw I had a trip tab in there. That's different. If you want to make a trip payment, you all obviously go to the make trip payment. But I'm going to go right back here, and I want you to understand, because it's a convenience fee, PayPal charges us 2.9% to use this, but it's convenient, so it's a convenience fee for you. We're not the ones charging that. That's PayPal. Yeah, they're the ones making the money. We make nothing off of that. The only thing that we get is your payment that you are paying. So you need to keep that in mind whenever you make your payment. And add that extra 2.9%. If you want it to be exactly $100, you got to make it 100. You got to make it exactly. You got to make it $102.90. I think is that right? Anyway, so that's where you're going to make your online payments. Now, Mr. Weaver said that the payment money box is right outside the office. Eventually, that will get taken out of that box, added up, and then Mrs. Weaver will go along and put it in your account. Okay? It's almost popular. So, so anyway, I would get very acquainted with this. There's always questions. I don't know how to read this, or I don't see this payment in here. Again, understand. Again, understand. Our first priority is teaching, and then I know money can be stressful, but we got to get the teaching first, and then we'll make sure that money. I promise you, we'll make sure everything is right there. Are there any questions about charms that I can answer right now? Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Okay, so when you log on first, the first thing that I would like, if y'all can, when you get time, click on that little guy right there that says student info, and then click personal information. Right here is where you can update all of that. As much information as I have available for you to update. If you don't have an adult, you can go here and add an adult and go ahead and put in your contact information and everything. But yeah, that's all you got to do. Go there and click on that. It's kind of like your personal profile.
If you'll check it too, when they came in here that day of 8th grade Band-Aid, sometimes they're typing and they're in a hurry, and so some of the email address were like, what is yazoo.com?
Yeah, you won't believe the amount of bounce backs we get, returned emails that we get. From every time I send out that Sunday thing, it's always at least 100 different emails that get returned. So that's 100 folks that aren't getting the information. So are there any other questions about charms or the website? Okay.
All right. Thank you. Y'all go to Mr. Schultz. All right. Let's move on if we can. If you will notice, that's charms. Moving on next in the handbook. Notice page 8. That's also the calendar syncing procedure is there. As a matter of fact, I updated it today off the charm site. If you look at page 9, I'm just giving you this. We will go over this with the students. This is the expectations that we have for them, whether it's in the rehearsals and performances on bus trips, in the band, or just in general. Okay, so this is something I'll always put in the handbook. But once you guys be aware, especially the things that you see bolded, such as in rehearsals, number 3, the top and demonstrate respect with directors, band staff, band leadership, and each other. There's certain ones that we really try to emphasize. Again, that's something we're going to jump over. Good bedtime reading if you want something to put you to sleep as a parent. Look at page 10. Consequences for various rules and fractions. We do have some physical stuff that helps them with marching band. If they can't follow rules and so forth, sometimes we'll make them run, we'll make them march, we'll make them do push-ups or planks or anything such as that, wall squats, different things that help strengthen them, things that will help them as part of the halftime show. Jump on to page 11. You see some of our performances that we give, required performances, football games, marching contests, and festivals. I'm going to go over a schedule of fall events for you here shortly. We do a couple of, actually 3 marching contest festivals. One is the one that we hosted, the Blackwater Classic. When we do parades, community performances, we do the Milton High School Homecoming Parade, Santa Rosa County Veterans Day Parade, Milton Christmas Parade, concert band festival, just like your children did in middle school. We do FBA Concert MPA, which takes place in March, a week before the middle school bands do it. Christmas concert, we always give a Christmas concert here. We also give a spring concert, which is usually about the first week of May. Usually the first weekend of May. Flip the page, we've got some descriptions on what these things are. Festival competitions or concert seasons. We do indoor color guard, indoor percussion, and other elective ensembles, including jazz band. And so you'll notice that on page 14, just some descriptions about what that is. That talks about their attendance in these other groups as well. Is somewhat co-curricular in what they've got going on here, but also that if they don't attend after-school rehearsals for indoor percussion, they can be removed from the ensemble. If they don't show up, we're going to take them out. Notice at the bottom, I want you to be aware of this, something important as a parent, especially with freshmen, because I don't know of any of our freshmen that drive. But we have Monday, Tuesday night rehearsals. Usually on Monday and Tuesday afternoons, we try to lock the band room up till from after school until about 5:30. The students are welcome to hang out. We have picnic tables out here. Sometimes they go over to Whataburger. They're in high school now, so we don't baby them and so forth. But they need to ride the bus home, be back up here by 6 o'clock or so that evening. But usually we're back up here about 5:30. That allows us to have a little bit of time to either go home and unwind, and sometimes Mr. Schultz never goes home. Or to run around town, take care of business, do what we need to as responsible adults, pay our bills and different things such as that. Usually we have Thursday afternoon rehearsals. It will stay open. We'll start rehearsal at 4 o'clock. Okay? Same thing with football games. The Friday football games, we always usually have a band parent, Mr. Cooper, will come up here and sit, so we will keep the band room open between the end of school, which we get out at 3:21 at Milton High School, until we meet for the football game at 5:30 or 6. But Monday and Tuesdays, sometimes we try to lock the band room up, so they'll have some kind of alternate plan of what they're going to do. Okay? Also, please note that Santa Rosa County School District policy states that we need to stay for 30 minutes after an activity. Now, if it's a football game, we are not going to leave a kid out here at night. I do want you to know that. We're not going to pull out 11:30 and 3 kids are sitting there waiting on parents. We'll sit with them, but please, I ask that you're also respectful of us. And we know things come up, but there have been some nights after a football game, we're sitting here an hour and a half waiting on a parent to get here. Okay, so, and usually you can tell if we're mad because we'll pull out of the parking lot as soon as they pull up. So, but if you'll help us out with that. And guys, when we give you an arrival time, usually we know that we're going to Fort Walton for a football game. We have a good idea that the game starts at 7. It's going to end between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. Unless something weird happens, it goes to overtime or something weird happens. There's a major injury and they have to haul a player off the field or something like that. So a lot of times we'll say 11:15. If you give us, so that means sometimes we'll be like 11:30 that we'll be arriving. And usually we'll try to hit the remind text and remind the kids as soon as we get like 87, we're hitting Highway 90 in East Milton to call your parents and let them know. Okay, so just kind of putting that out there. We're not going to leave a kid up here by themselves unaccompanied that late at night. I do want you to know that, but I do ask that you're respectful of us as well in our time that we have families. Usually we haven't had dinner by the time we get in from football games, so we're starving to death. Flip the page, band 15, band uniforms. We do have band uniforms, and there is an expense to that. Our Band Parent Association buys certain parts of the uniform. In that first year, we ask our new members to buy certain parts, and as long as they don't outgrow them, they can use them for 4 years. But our formal uniform to start with, give you an idea. Go ahead with the formal. Yeah. We use a black jacket with a black and gold sequin sash. Thank you, Mr. Wow. Thank you, Vanna. But we provide that part right there, what you see. We also provide the gold gauntlets. The Band Parent Association raises money, and we provide those parts. And we reuse them and reissue them year after year. When they start getting worn out, we replace them and so forth. That is the part that the band parents purchase, that part of the uniform, the gauntlets, the sash, the coat. We ask our incoming students, and ever since we moved to this uniform, we've asked them to do this, to purchase other parts of the uniform, that being the band helmet and plume. Now, that is there to keep. Our mindset behind getting the students to purchase it was that kids always want to keep their band helmet anyway, so we might as well just let them go ahead and buy it. Okay. The other thing was, you can see it's shiny metallic. We figured if they paid for it, it'd be less likely to go flying across the parking lot and get scratched up. So, but they'll pay for the helmet, the plume. They'll pay for their bibbers, their pants. We don't want to reuse. You don't want to wear other people's pants. And so we'll be ordering them a pair of bibbers here. Actually, this week they'll be sized tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, the woodwinds tomorrow, the brass on Wednesday. Brass and percussion. Okay. Okay. Tomorrow? Okay. He's in charge of uniforms. So brass and percussion tomorrow, woodwinds on Wednesday. That's right. We'll also ask students to purchase a pair of Bando shoes, which we can order for them, or you can get them. They're the flat black military shoes. We use a type of shoe called a Bando shoe because they're like $23 or something like that. You can see the prices that are on here. And so that first year, this is an expense that we're asking that you pick up. And understand, we'll order these after this week, probably by the end of the week. We'll place the order for the new bippers, new shoes, and the new helmets. And once these things start arriving, the bill's coming pretty quickly as well. But you can see the cost breakdown is right there. You can see it's $195 for those parts combined, okay? Along with a personalized polo shirt. We also have what we call a summer uniform. Now, polo shirt's part of that $195, and you see it has their name and their instrument on the sleeve. It has our logo embroidered on it as well, and we'll ask that not through us, but that the students have dressed black shorts. Okay, so and white, primarily white tennis shoes. They can have a little bit of color, but it doesn't need to be a 50-50 kind of thing. And we'll wear those usually the first few football games, usually the high school homecoming parade. We learned a few years ago, we live in Florida. Why would we wear long sleeves and heavy coats, if we don't have to? Okay?
While you're talking about the polo shirt, hopefully y'all got the parent chaperone shirt. We started doing this a few years back. We're kind of having difficulty. You'll notice that all the staff wears the black shirts, the students wear those white shirts. And if it's not required that you wear it, but it does help the students. It helps us out to pick out the chaperones that are there with the gold shirts, and you can get it embroidered. A lot of people like to put their tuba dad on there or whatever. We don't want to put tuba dad on the shirt.
Amen. That's right. Okay, so you'll notice as well in the middle there, the uniform care, those black jackets and those pants are machine washable. Okay, but we do ask that, you'll be surprised how many of them will not get that uniform washed by about the fourth game. It's funky smelling. Because you'll notice them in the stands because nobody will stand next to them. That kid's kind of like Pigpen and Charlie Brown standing out there. So, but you'll see not machine washable with cold water, a gentle cycle, and then it tells you what to do about folding it, doing it, or zipping it, folding the flaps in, turning it inside out, then put it in the washing machine, and then hang it dry. Let it allow it to dry in a well-ventilated area. Don't throw it in the washer. Okay? Dryer. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, thank you. A lot going through my mind. Wipe shoes with damp cloth. Don't attempt to wash the sash. Just make sure if it gets damp that you allow it to dry. You might can wipe it off with something and allow it to dry. He mentioned the summer uniforms as well. And then you'll also notice that we provide each student with a band shirt. We'll allow parents to buy these as well. Usually what we call our halftime show theme shirt. This was last year. Our show was Beyond. Matter of fact, you can see the backs of all the shirts right up here for the past 8 years. And so, but there'll be times that we ask them to wear their most of the time when they're in uniform, they wear their show shirt at a football game, their show shirt underneath, because a lot of times in the bleachers, especially if it's still hot, once we get that fourth or fifth game, we'll allow them to take their coats off third quarter. And that way they still look uniform. Okay? If they need replacement parts after this year, you see it's mentioned summer uniforms at the bottom, and you see at the bottom if the replacement shirts needed, they can be purchased from the band office. We've told our upperclassmen returning members if they need anything replaced, their pants, their shoes, their polo shirt, they make that order this week. We always do it the same way every year. So let's say after your child's ninth grade year, the end of ninth grade next summer, if they need a bigger polo shirt, they'll need to place that order. We'll send all that information out to the email. Any questions about the uniform? All right, flip the page. Not going to spend a lot of time here, but you'll notice that this is our marching band budget. This is what it takes to make this marching band go. We always say pride. It takes money. Kids don't know that part, though. Parents and the staff do. You'll see the grand total marching band budget for us is $51,840 for a 230-piece marching band. We're fortunate. That used to be about $20,000 more for transportation. But Santa Rosa County School District now provides the transportation of football games and the local contests that started this past year. But that breaks down to, once we take those numbers, we divide it by the number of folks that we're expecting in the marching band. You can see it's the fair share donation is two different tiers. It starts at $300. Everybody will be charged out $300. Once, if you work and volunteer at the 3 different events, you'll knock $25 off. You can knock it down all the way to $225. After that third event, we still want you to volunteer. We just can't give you any more financial credit. Does that make sense? So $300, $225. Now we'll say this before you get to that page. You're thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me $195 and $300 or $225. We're going to do fundraisers as well. Okay, 100% of the profit from the fundraiser goes directly into each child's account. We don't keep any of that money for the general band fund. Okay, once they meet budget, once they pay for their uniform, it's an investment in our kids. Okay, once they've done all that, we don't keep any of the money. It credits towards their band trip, or they decide to go on the band trip, or credits towards next year, and so forth. Okay, let's flip the page. What I've done here is giving you just a lot more information, kind of a payment plan that we recommend. It's not required. Some folks walk in, I know that don't want to do fundraising, so tell me what I owe you and I'll write you a check. Some of us do a combination of both. That's what we've done with our dollars. We pay some, we fundraise some. Okay, and some folks need the fundraisers to help them along, but you see, what you need to look at is the one that says new members, about a third of the way down the page. What we ask is for the commitment fair share donation that we call it in this week, okay, or if they've been given the Olympia fundraiser, that they fundraise at least $50 worth of profit, which is 10 bags of Olympia. And then you can see kind of a payment schedule that takes you all the way down until the end of the school year, that last $75 being due by May the 3rd, or you can volunteer and work that $75 off. Okay, returning members, you see they've got one there, making fair share donations. Let's look below that real quick. You send in a check, please make it payable to Milton HS Band. I will tell you all the funds that come through here go in the money box. We take them, we fill out the appropriate monies collected forms. It goes through Milton High School, through the school bookkeeper, what we call our internal funds. Okay, Band Parent Association has their own account. They raise money outside and they supplement and help by writing checks that we need through the year. But anything that our students fundraise, anything that the parents pay comes through here. We have a paper trail, and it goes through the front office of Milton High School. So it's under the supervision, so to speak, of Mr. Short, our principal, as well. So he sees everything that's spent. He sees everything that comes in. Okay. Any cash donations? If your child brings in cash, please help me with this. We'll put it on the box. It should be on the box. If they bring in cash, they need to come in the office. We have receipt books. We will write them a receipt. That way, there's a record. You know, there's nothing worse than Dick going, I put $50 in the box last week, and we're like, it's not in the box. You know, so please, please, please make sure they get a receipt from us. Because at that point, it's like, well, we can't help. Did you get a receipt? Well, no. It says it on the box. So if you'll help us with that, okay? So if you're having difficulty, listen to me. We are not going to turn any kid down that is struggling to keep with their fair share stuff. We're not going to turn them down. We're not going to turn down services. We're not going to embarrass a kid because of that. But if you're having difficulties, let me know. There are resources, okay? Matter of fact, I put on the bottom, there's some support agencies. Tri-County, if you qualify down here, has paid many a band fair share donations for our kids, okay? And there are other resources. Sometimes we have local businesses, local doctors that will come up and say, hey, is there something I can do for the band? And I'll say, yeah, I got a kid, okay? Do not let the money be the reason your child is not in this band program, okay? So any questions about the fair share? We call it a donation. Let me say that. Something new with the Santa Rosa County School District, because it is a donation. It is tax deductible. Woohoo! If you itemize, right? But also understand that it is non-refundable because it's a donation. So your kid can't get to October and you go, okay, well they hate it. I want my money back. Doesn't work like that. Okay? Everybody follow me on that. Flip the page. Let's move on. Band Parent Volunteer Incentive Program. We mentioned that earlier. You can work up to 3 times, not $25 off. Fundraisers. We have some fundraisers already kind of established. Olympia, we kicked off that second rehearsal almost 2 weeks ago from Thursday. It is due this Wednesday. It is a great fundraiser. All you got to do is get it out there. Okay? We sold $5,000-6,000 in Olympia, I think, this past year. We did 2 fundraisers. We'll probably do 2 again. If you don't know the Olympia, Miss Ann Gwynn that used to own the Dragon Express where Taco Town is. She used to have an Asian restaurant over there. It's hers. If you go to a lot of community festivals, you see Miss Ann. It's the Olympia we sell at our concession stand. Matter of fact, they got to a point there to where I was telling the boosters, hey, I want to buy a bag of Olympia when y'all get some of this in. And they kind of came up with the idea, why don't we do it as a fundraiser? It's like, great. 15 Olympia in a bag. If you want the pork/chicken, they have pork and chicken in the same one. Or if you want the veggie, it's $12 for that bag of 15. If you want the beef, which are 15 in the bag, it's $14. The kid makes $5, the student makes $5 per bag. Think about it. You sell 20 bags of Olympia, you just made $100 towards fair share. Okay? So Olympia comes in frozen. We'll pass it out the night that's on the calendar, the Thursday night before band camp, right out here in the parking lot. Ms. Harris and the booster officers, the booster board, and booster folks will be out there, and they'll distribute after practice that night. It'll come with cooking instructions. All they do is place it in frying oil or deep fryer for about 6 minutes so they're golden brown. Pull them out. Man, I get up on Saturday morning sometimes, and that's what's for breakfast, you know what I mean? So, I love the Olympia. The beef ones are my all-time favorite. I've never had a beef one, but we sold them a couple of years ago, and that's all I'll just about eat. But we've got that. We've got a car wash sign. I'm going to go over a little bit later here. That you got the paperwork on tonight. That I've seen kids make $400 or $500 on car wash individually. That I'll talk about a little bit later. Cookie dough, August 14th. I'm not a fan of cookie dough. We do that with Mr. Sermon Lee, who's been doing fundraisers at Milton High School Band since the 1970s. Okay, I know Mr. Lee's got to be older than dirt. He was a high school band director that had retired when he came around back in the 70s. Okay, I love him to death. He does cookie dough. It's a tradition. Okay, and Olympia number 2. You guys, we've been doing like 7 to 8 fundraisers a year, and we did some research and pushed some numbers. And on average, we were having 35 to 40 kids out of 230 that were participating. We're not going to do a lot of them. So that's why I'm giving you this stuff. If you want to do fundraisers, jump on the ones we got this summer. What happens is we hit the fall and we're so busy and we're trying to run fundraisers too, we just don't have time to do it. Okay, so I encourage you to jump on the ones this summer. Spring band trip. We sent out information last rehearsal about that. It is on January the 2nd through the 7th. 2019. This year we go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, or Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, the Smoky Mountains. We'll do a side trip in Atlanta. We're still trying to lock down the price. We gave you some save the date information, trying to make that trip, $500 or less, but it's still like 5 nights. Our plans are to go to Six Flags over Georgia, and also to go to Dollywood, and then we'll do some dinner shows and a day in Gatlinburg. Have even arranged for some private tours of Cades Cove. I've always tried to figure out how to get the kids into Cades Cove because I love Cades Cove. But the charter buses won't fit on the hairpin turns and the little one lane. And there's been some stories of the Pace Band one year that got stuck as they tried to cross one of the bridges, and the charter bus, the wheels wouldn't touch as the bumpers were on each side of the bridge. And so they backed up traffic for hours and so forth. But we found a nonprofit group, the Townsend Cultural Center up there, that will do smaller groups for us through Cades Cove. So information's on the website about that. I'm not going to say any more about that. Our trips are optional. I will tell you that it's an optional type thing. We do a rotation. Milton High School Band has done band trips since I know I was in the band in the 80s. Since Nikki was in band, Angie was in band. But we have a rotation. This year's rotation takes us to Gatlinburg this upcoming school year. The next year's the big trip, Washington, D.C. and New York City. Okay, usually about $1,100 per person, $1,200 per person. But the last couple of times we've stayed about 4 to 5 blocks from Times Square. We're in New York. We get to see and tour the White House. We get to do all these cool things, go to a Broadway musical while we're out there. That is your sophomore year. Junior year will be Disney World. Okay, that's an easy trip to Orlando. Senior year, we just got off one in March, will be a cruise. We just took a cruise out of Mobile on Carnival Fantasy with 175 students and parents back in March about 2 or 3 months ago. Okay, that one usually runs about $550. Most of the other trips all run $400, $500. The New York one runs usually about $1,200. Okay, again, those are optional type things. Okay, moving on, page 18, checkout procedures. We ask that all students ride the bus to the performance. If you're at the football game and want to take your child afterwards, that is fine and dandy. What we do ask is once we've gotten back to our buses, we don't want you to take them from the bleachers, because we'll march out together where our cases are to our truck. We'll start to put everything away. Once they've got their stuff put away, then we need a written note from you as their parents saying, I'm taking Jason home with me from the Tate football game. Give that to Miss Kennedy or her designee, our head chaperone, and at that point, we'll watch them walk away with you. Please don't ask your child to meet you at the other side of the stadium, because, we don't want to be at Pine Forest. My mom's waiting for me over there. Okay, we'll see you. Something got miscommunicated. We pull out, and the child's walking around the campus of Pine Forest High School at midnight. Okay, so no, we watch them leave with you. Any questions about that? Free to do that. I do ask, though, that you wait in the football game. If we're at marching competition, it's when we're done. Not as soon as we get done performing, can I take my kid? No, we need to be there for the awards ceremony where our kids all stand at attention and they hear what the judges have to say. Okay? Next couple of pages, Ms. Burris put this stuff together for the color guard parents. Okay, if you will notice, it's kind of got their expectations and their policies. If you'll notice, their fair share is a little bit different because there's a few more things that the color guard needs regarding uniform type stuff. And you'll see on the back of page 20, about midway down, that all guard members, your tiers are 267 and 342. Okay, and then the new guard members will invest in, we're using the same uniforms the last 2 years. going in our third year, last 3 years. They will love the uniform. We'll need to purchase them a new uniform, and you'll see that's $209 for Color Guard. I've also given you a fair share breakdown of their schedule, of their payments right there for their donations. Okay? Color Guard parents, if you have a question about that, see me or see Miss Bird about that. Flip the page. Contact information. I've given you phone numbers up here for the band room, Milton High School attendance. Again, our cells, again, our emails, Charm's office. I reminded you about the MHS Band Parent Association, second Tuesday at 7 o'clock of every month. Together we are the Mighty Black Gold. Flip the page. Next 2 pages, I'm not even going to go over. That's our conditioning exercise program for marching band, but I do want you to look on page 23. Understand this, your child is fixed to be a part of marching band. It is a physical activity. We saw that today. Mr. Schultz, how long were y'all outside before 2 or 3 kids got faint?
Maybe about 15, 30 minutes.
Right. Okay. Please, please, please help us condition them. Today, I've watched this over 26 years of teaching. When I was a kid, we got pushed outside the yard, and we stayed there till lunchtime. We found something to do, and then after lunch, we were pushed back out in the yard to go play. And we came in for dinner, if we wanted to come at dinner time. Usually we were outside till dark. Okay? But it's a physical activity. Please help us help. We already today have spoken to students numerous times about their bodies. Their bodies are important, that they take care of it, that it stays hydrated with the appropriate fluids, that the appropriate nutrients go into their body. You don't want to send them on with a high-grease breakfast, okay, up here. Oh, I just had a bowl of cereal and milk, and they get out there at 8:30 in the morning, and we see what kind of cereal that they ate, okay? But what, guys, water, little water coolers, Gatorade, Powerade, replace the electrolytes. Please make sure they're not drinking Coca-Colas and eating junk food and that kind of stuff until their bodies are a little bit more conditioned. Matter of fact, we usually tell them that they need to be drinking water the day before we're going to be outside. Well, we talked to them today about the pee-pee test, checking their pee-pee when they go to the bathroom. Number 1, urinate. We had all kinds of names for it today. But they need to check it. The more yellow to orange it is, the more dehydrated that they are. They've got to consume more fluids. And this is serious business. I've never lost a kid in Milton High School. I don't plan to. Okay? So, again, if you can help us on that side, because again, kids aren't acclimated as much to outside as a lot of us were when we were children. So encourage them, especially, band camp's a long day. We're outside in the mornings, we're outside in the afternoon, evenings, and so please help us with that. All right, going to move on. Next, you're just going to see some examples of stuff. Band lettering and year bar applications, that is the award they get at the end of the school year, based upon meeting the certain requirements that are on there. Well, usually in April, we start getting this stuff out, but we want you to be aware of it. Next page, that absence appeal form. Remember when they miss, that's what it looks like. There's you an example of what that is. It tells you where to find it. Now, this page 26, these last 2 pages, you're going to want to tear off and put it on your refrigerator. This next one right here, and I cannot believe that I messed up just a little bit on it. Okay, but this next one right here is the one that needs to go in your refrigerator. That is our schedule for this year. Okay? Now, we'll tell you this. You notice at the top, I regenerate this band handbook every year. And about 2 weeks ago, I started working from the first word to the last word in it, and finding all the 2017 to change it to 18. Somehow, when I was looking at my dates, I did miss this next thing. At the top, it says marching band rehearsal schedule. That should say October 5th through October 24th. I think yours says October 1st through October, I don't know, I'll mark it out on mine. Okay? The marching band will meet Monday. Oh, you're looking at it there too. Okay. 6 to 9:30, Mondays and Tuesday nights, 6 to 9:30. Now, you may say, why do we meet at night? Okay? Why do we meet at night? It's cooler. That, and we're landlocked in Milton High School. The football team practices out here at 6:15. We practice at 6. We surround the track. What is it?
What did you say about October 5th?
August 5th. Yeah, so August 5th, October 24th.
Oh, there's the...
What it says on the screen is what it should say. My brain is going 100 miles. I keep looking at that clock going, okay, I'm 15 minutes longer than I wanted to be. Okay? August 5th to October 24th. And then the second one should read October 31st, that you see up there. The marching band practices Monday nights, Tuesday nights after football, usually right on the practice field. They're redoing our practice field this summer, so we're actually going to be kicked off the practice field. We're going to have band camp up at the community center up on the hill because they're totally gutting the practice field. The drainage is collapsed out there, so all the drains that run underneath the field, they're going to have to dig the field up and replace, and it's supposed to replace the track. So next week or two, this whole field's going to be off limits to us. But we'll practice Monday nights, Tuesday nights, 6 to 9:30. We practice Thursday afternoons from 4 to 6:30. We call our dress rehearsal run. Part of that is we don't want the kids out late again on Thursday night. Then we got a Friday night football game. Okay, notice it says except for August 9th and 16th. Those times we'll go 6 to 9:30. The main reason football hasn't started yet, so the football team will be out here. Okay, once we start football games, JV and 9th grade, they have Thursday games. Varsity does walkthroughs in the stadium on Thursday, so then we move to Thursday afternoons. Does that make sense? Monday night, Tuesday night, Thursday afternoons, except for the first couple of weeks of school until the football season starts because football's still out here. Okay, you'll see a list of our fall right there. Kickoff Classic is here at Milton High School. We have 5 home games, we have 5 away games. Notice October 6th, the Blackwater Classic Marching Festival. That is the one that we host. We do exhibition right here in our stadium. Right now we have 12 other bands that are signed up to be here. Okay, local bands, some from Alabama, Foley High School's coming, some from Panama City Arnold. We've also got from University of Southern Mississippi, the Pride of Mississippi coming to do exhibition that night. We've been working on that for the past 2 years. Okay, but big money maker for us. All these bands come over here. We hire a judging panel. We do exhibition. We'll need your help working that day for his parents. We'll need our kids here all day that day, helping to work and run this thing. Notice October 13th, the Florida Bandmasters District 1 Marching NPA at Fort Walton Beach High School. Just like your middle schooler did the concert NPA, this is the equivalent, except all the marching bands from Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa County will converge on Fort Walton. Okay? I encourage you to go. It's a great event down at Fort Walton Beach High School. That's the one that's kind of the state event for us, where all the bands in the state go through this, and we're rated with a rating. Okay? And then notice, usually the Tuesday night after that, all the Santa Rosa County bands get together and do a free exhibition. This year, tentatively, should be at Pace High School. We try to rotate it every year. Last year it was at Navarre, the year before it got Breeze. The year before that it was at Milton. But Pace High School, be a free activity that we do that Tuesday night following FBA. Okay? Then notice that week, even though we have an open weekend, we don't have a football game, we've got to kind of stay local with our competition. We're going to an actual competition at Emerald Coast Classic at Choctawhatchee High School. Okay, that'll be the one that we're kind of competing for first, second, third, fourth, 15th place amongst all the bands. And that'll kind of wrap up our competitive marching band season. Okay, you see after that, you see we have Pace High School football game, which is also our band senior night, Pine Forest High School football game, and then Veterans Day parade. And that kind of wraps up marching band. Then you see the other important dates. Some of those are tentative, all the all-county stuff, because that'll be determined once all the county band directors, and we have our in-service meeting during the week of pre-planning in August. Okay, see our Christmas concert's already on there. See our Christmas parade is already on there. You see our band trip is on there. You see concert NPA for the band, all 3 bands is March 7th through the 9th. See when spring break is. You see when our spring concert is, May the 3rd. Our band banquet, May the 18th. Graduation, last day of school. Put that on your refrigerator. Okay? Any questions there? Flip the page. Next page, you'll want to tear off as well. This is the medical form. We need this from every student. We put these in a 3-ring binder, boys in one, girls in the other. If we're at a football game and a student needs some kind of medical attention, and trust me, it happens. Usually 4 or 5 times a season, we'll end up at the ambulance with a student that's overheated, they've just blackened out. This is the first thing we grab. It has all the information that we need to handle the medical personnel. Okay? Notice on there as well, right at the very center, list non-prescription medications your child may not take. If there's something they can't take, put it there. If you don't put it there, and let's say they have a stomach ache, we can give them Pepto-Bismol. Okay? Or if they have a headache, we can give them something. Or if they have cramps, whatever, we can give them that stuff. Okay? But if there's something they can't take, put it right there. Ms. Kennedy, anything you want to add to that?
No, just get them in as soon as possible. That way they have them during rookie camp, and we have these forms during band camp as well, because we do have them get sick during band camp. So when we have those papers, we can look back on the people who are there, and they know what they can and cannot have.
And guys, I've actually, in years past, had to get in ambulances. So, Mr. Schultz, you got the marching band, she runs the marching band anyway, I just stand there and watch the football game. But jump in the ambulance and go to the hospital with kids, and they have these in hand. It is awesome. Okay? Notice on the back, flip it over real quick. Need a parent signature or guardian signature. It says mother, father, but a guardian signature. Listen, one of 2 things. You can have it witnessed in lieu of notary, or you can have it notarized. One or the other. You don't have to do both. But you have 2 other adults that are non-family members. Matter of fact, you can even bring it up here sometimes. band rehearsal, grab a couple other band parents and they can witness your signature on there. Okay? Or you can take it to another Republic and have them use the bottom section of the rest. Okay? Any questions about the band handbook? Again, great bedtime reading. Let's jump on to the next stuff we got here. Number 5 on the agenda, shadowing alternate line. Let me just say something real quick. We will have alternates in the marching band, but they are full-fledged members of the marching band. Usually based on watching their marching during rookie camp and knowing that the upper class are marching based on their auditions. What we do is we create an alternate line usually of 10 to 15 students. And it doesn't mean they're not going to get to perform. What they do is they flip-flop. One week this kid will perform that spot. The next week the other kid will perform that spot. And you may say, well, that's dumb. Why do you do that? At some point during this season, somebody's going to get hurt, and they'll be on crutches for the rest of the season. At some point during the season, somebody's going to move. Okay, it's funny. We always start with we change the number, and we'll start by the end of the season. There's always at least a hole in the halftime show. Because what happens is when we get that, when somebody gets hurt, somebody has to move, somebody doesn't show up, we grab one of the two shadowing people, and we say, congratulations, you got this spot now. And we move into that spot. So what that does is keeps the band from all being on the field learning a halftime show, and then by October we've got 10 to 15 holes on the field, which we can never recover from, or everybody having to totally relearn the drill. Does that make sense? They are full-fledged members. They will still perform. They'll still perform. Everybody will perform the pregame. They still march in. It's just that we have 2 kids that are alternating spots, and again, so that it's for the team, for the betterment of the entire group. Okay? And they'll practice that way. One will march right behind the other, and they'll flip-flop and so forth. Other items needed for performances. We mentioned this earlier, but I have this on here, that summer uniform. Remember, we'll get their polo shirts, but they're going to need black dressy-type shorts and primarily white tennis shoes. And then for the formal uniform, we'll provide that black T-shirt. And their uniforms, they will need black dress socks to go with that. It's black pants, black socks, and black shoes. Okay? Items needed for band camp and rehearsals. Summer-appropriate clothing. Shorts, cool shirts, hats, sunscreen, sunglasses, etc. Please don't allow them to come up here with long sleeve shirts and blue jeans. A kid goes down, usually they're wearing like a darker shirt or a long sleeve shirt and blue jeans, and it's 95 degrees outside with a heat index of 103. Okay? So if you can help us with that. Also, a water cooler, thermos bottle. There's usually about 15 after the first day up here. I don't see any of them. But you know, those thermos type bottles, put their name on it. We give them a lot of what we call gush and goes. Okay? Which means they're going to run to the front sideline, get their water thermos, turn it up, drink it, go, put it down, and then go back on the field. They're also allowed to have those backpack water things. You've seen those at Sam's a little too. That's fine. What I've learned is most of the time those don't last very long because they get tired of wearing them because it makes their back sweat. So the thermos bottles, what we've learned, is usually the best. Okay, make sure their name's on it. Encourage them not to share. Okay, so that we don't want mono and that kind of stuff going around. Music folder. We recommend a 3-ring binder type music folder that you get some plastic sleeves. Usually we give them music that's in full sheets. Even the football music will have 2 pieces, and so that they can kind of keep track of it. They can decorate it up, put their name on that 3-ring binder, and a lot of them will keep all of their music for all 4 years in the same binder. So I'd recommend something like that. Other stuff. Any questions about the stuff I just mentioned? We're almost done, I promise you. Other stuff. Chaperone training. If you're interested in chaperoning, we have a training type session that we do following the July and the August band parent meeting, that second Tuesday of the month. Band parents, the BPA meets, and then afterwards I'll be in here, Miss Kennedy will be in here, and we go over some chaperone training. In other words, kind of say, this is what we need from you. Now, if you think chaperoning is just a fun time at the football game, it's work. Up and down the bleachers, dealing with situations, okay? So if you're interested in that, though, by all means, please don't forget to come to that training. I'm not going to let anybody chaperone that I have not had a chance to go over our expectations, okay? Shish Kebab Meat Stickins. Boy, howdy, you're going to hear about Shish Kebab Meat Stickins. It is a fun time. A lot of raw pork, knives, cutting boards, wooden skewers, okay? It's a task behind making those delicious shish kebabs. Sometimes we do it with the entire band. We have Shish Kebab Meat Stickins after school. Sometimes we'll actually start them when the cafeteria becomes available 5th period, and then the 5th period concert band, 6th period symphonic band are sticking, and then the other kids come join us after school. You'll hear more about that when you come to the Band Parent Association meetings, but understand those things don't make themselves. It takes us a whole lot of pork, okay, and a whole lot of sticking, and a whole lot of marinating, and moving totes of shish kebabs and so forth. So just want to kind of throw that out there. Band trip I mentioned earlier. See our website for details. Fundraisers, number 10. Lumpia, remember, is due this Wednesday. Now, let me ask this, though. If when you get checks are payable to Milton High School Band or MHS Band or Milton Band, as long as it has some form of the M word, Milton, MHS, and band on it, it's great. Please make sure that whoever writes you the check, that there's a physical address and telephone number. And I always joke with the kids, say, because they got to go break their legs if it bounces. Okay? But actually, we use a company called Check Ready, Milton High School does, and they will not, Check Ready will not cover the check if it doesn't have the person's name, physical address, and phone number of the customer. Okay? So please, a lot of them will have their physical address and won't have their phone number. So please make sure that is on the check. And we also ask the students at the bottom of the check to make sure it has their name and the number 201, which is our account number.
Okay, most of the people that ordered from him has paid cash.
Cash is fine, yeah. We'll also accept cash.
Or do I need to do money orders? Would that work?
No, cash is fine. Okay, cash works just like a check. We're good with that. Matter of fact, when they turn to their fundraisers, they will bring those into us, or if we have band parents in the room next to us over here, we'll tell them where to take their fundraiser, and it'll be counted in front of them. We'll make sure everything tabulates on their form. We count it, sign off on it, and send them on their way. We don't write receipts for it. We notate it on the form. So that's the notation, okay? So we've got the Lumpia fundraiser. Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's not even on here. Sorry. Car wash-a-thon. Guys, look at that sheet real quick. It drives me nuts that we don't make near the money on this that we need, that we could possibly make. I think because a lot of folks don't understand it. There was one of those up there, right? Yeah. Okay? We learned a few years ago, we would send a band out to do car washes, and they would go out and do it for donations, or they charge $4 or $5, and we'd have 20 kids working, and they'd make $240 total. Okay? And then when you divide that by 20 kids, that's what, $12 a kid? Right? Is that right? No. How much is it? $10, yeah, sorry. Okay? And we got, it wasn't working. Because everybody wanted to go be a part of the car wash. So we started this a few years ago, and I have watched kids make $400 and $500 washing cars for 4 hours. Let me explain to you how this works, okay? Understand that the band provides a public service to enhancing the quality of life in our community through parades, performances, just to make things more fun, football games and so forth. So when you approach your customers and your family, your friends, your coworkers, simply tell them we are taking pledges. Your child needs pledges for the car wash. Okay? What's going to happen, you see on Saturday, right in the middle of band camp, July 21st, we will have 6 locations around Milton. We've already got 4 of them secured. Those locations are Milton High School right out here in the front of the school, Advanced Auto in front of Winn-Dixie on Dogwood Drive, Ollie's at Highway 90, Kids Discovery Center on Highway 90 out in Pea Ridge, and we're still working the Circle K that used to be the local yokel. That's where we have it every year. It's always the last minute before they'll answer us, but usually we have it over there, okay, at the Circle K in East Milton, because management has to go through upper management, but they've always let us end up doing it. And then I've got to get up with Bruce and Joyce Grimes, the Stuckies out of I-10 in Baghdad. Okay, what we do from 9 to 2 is we do a free car wash. We've got professional signs made up, the MHS band, free car wash, and our kids wash cars for free. Now, what we want our students to do is go out and get pledges. During that 5 hours, we wash as many cars for free as we can, which usually averages between 200 and 250. Like last year, thunderstorm moved in about 1 o'clock, so we had to shut everything down. So it's like 205 cars. Okay? If you're a customer, you can see on here, if they pledge 3 cents and we do 300 cars, you just made $9. They're going to give you $9. And chances are that customer has 2 cars they can bring up there and get washed for free. They're supporting your kid in the process. The beauty here is in getting the pledges. Okay? We've had kids sometimes get, let's say your student goes out and you get $1 in pledges. Your kid goes and washes cars for 4 hours because we do 2 shifts, usually a shift from like 8 till noon, or 8 to 11:30, 3.5-hour shifts, and then 11 o'clock to 2. Okay? Kid washes, we do 230 cars. You got $1 in pledges, you just made 200. You just made your fair share plus, with your volunteer incentive stuff. Does that make sense? But so often we'll have like 30 kids that do the car wash. So we have 200 kids out washing cars, and only 30 are getting paid for it. So I encourage you, to do this. You can take pledges. I put on here 1 to 10 cents. If somebody wants to give you $1 a car, that's fine with me. Okay? They can give you $250 or whatever to get done. That's fine. We take donations as well. This goes to your kid's account. Does everybody understand that? Do you understand the math in that? It's not a pyramid scheme, I don't think. It's the powers and the numbers, right? Okay? You're not getting somebody to buy in, but I encourage you to, because the car wash is going to go on. We're going to have 6 locations. Our kids are going to be out there busting their tail washing cars. All right? So why not be making money while they're doing it? Yes? Yeah. Oh, thank you for asking that. Yeah, what'll happen that Saturday, we come back that Monday to band camp, is we've got a letter on Milton High School letterhead that we put out. We'll put it out in an email as well, probably that Saturday afternoon when we get done. But we'll hand them that verification letter that says the Milton High School band washed this many cars. Now, what we do at the location is we have documentation sheets. We ask the person we're washing, we write down the make and model, their tag number, we have them sign it. But so if everybody ever wants to question it, we've got those in the office that they can come see. But we will send home a verification sheet. This is how many cars we washed. If you pledge 3 cents, this is how much you owe. Okay, does that make sense? And so they got that second week of band count, and even really before we come back to school, to go out and get that money collected. Yes?
So whenever somebody comes up and like we wash their car and we give them a pledge like for 5 cents, so they say like, are we getting 5 cents for every car you wash throughout the entire day?
Well, yeah, for all 6 locations, that's correct. And like I said, usually we've done no more than about 227 cars is the most over the last 3 or 4 years that I remember us ever doing. Okay, but you want to get the pledges in advance. You don't get them from the customers when they pull up the car wash. You want to get them from folks you know beforehand. Okay, does that make sense? And so, and then that day we get donations. Some of those donations we put back, and that's I told you about the financial assistance. That's what some of that's used for as well. Okay, so we've got that going on.
Hey, Mr.
Looking,
Weaver,
yes,
can I just put a little plug in?
sure.
The car wash is my absolute favorite. My son raised $310 last year on the car wash alone, which paid for more than half, pretty much almost all of his band dues. And then with the volunteer incentive of that $75, I was able to take care of my son's fees. We all know what it's like to be on a tight budget. And that car wash, I'm telling you, if you play it right, you can set it up and you can take care of those band fees or fair share dues, whatever it's called now, and you'll be set. It's so worth it if you can just, I'm telling you, it will help you tremendously. I'm a huge fan of car wash.
I am. I watched just like she talked about $300 something. We watched some of those donations to $450. I saw one year. So it's just getting out there and getting those pledges, you know. And again, remind your customer, if we do 300, which we've never got close to 300, okay? If we do 300 and they pledge 10 cents, there's $30. And they've maybe had 3 cars at home, then they'll wipe their child's car. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just to clarify, so we go out and they go out and get pledges ahead of time, then we tell.
They bring the form in that Thursday. I think it says it on there, does it not?
But I mean, who they're gonna get the pledge from, they give them these 6 locations.
Yes, ma'am.
Come to any of those 6
Sure.
locations.
They don't have to bring their car out, but they're welcome to. The folks that pledge are just giving you money for the amount of cars that we wash. They're welcome to bring their cars out, but we're standing on the street getting folks that are driving by. We strategically locate so that they can't get in or out of Milton without passing one of our sites. Dogwood Drive, Stewart Street. You know, someone pull up and go, I just saw y'all out at Aldi's. Yeah, you did. You know, and then there'll be some little, you know, cheerleading group at like Roadhouse, and I'll pull up inside and go, sorry, we have 6 locations in Milton. You know, we try to warn people that we're going to be all over town that weekend. Because they'll be out there, $5 car washes, and we're doing 6 free ones around town. So, the pledgees are welcome to bring their car. They don't have to. Okay? So, you know, again, we're trying to catch folks as they're driving around. We're trying to make Milton cleaner 1 car at a time. Pardon me? They pay after the fact, yeah. We'll do it that Saturday, that Monday. We'll say, okay, here are the verification. If you got pledges, here's a sheet for you to take out that's on school letterhead that says, here's how many cars we washed this past Saturday. If you pledge this amount, this is what you owe. Yes? We'll look at them, but if it's a certain level of repair, it has to be sent to the shop. Yes. Yeah, we've got 2 or 3. We use we have Schmitz music that comes through, we have playground music that comes through, we have upbeat music that comes through. We have 3 different ones that call on a sweeper. We have a Monday, we have a Tuesday, a Thursday, and a Friday that all come by to see us if we need something. So, okay. Are there any other questions? Guys, I appreciate your patience. Again, there's food in the back, drinks. Do it now? It needs to be eaten, okay? Guys, at any point, if you've got questions about anything, please shoot us an email. That's probably the best way to communicate with us. Hold on just a second, folks.
Did you show
He sorted it. He talked about most everything is miscellaneous on the bottom and the band trip. There's one called fundraising activity. We do not use that one in charms. It makes it confusing. Okay, if you have questions, please let us know. Thank you. Have a great evening. Oh, Bandcamp Cafe. Also at Bandcamp, sorry. I'm trying to get through all this stuff. At Bandcamp. We do, our Band Parent Association offers lunch and dinner. We have a lunch break and a dinner break. It's not real quick, guys. A lunch and a dinner break. And you can see on the back of the agenda is a summer calendar. You can see, not on mine, but on y'all's, you can see that we have a morning session, a lunch break for 2 hours, an afternoon session, a dinner break for an hour and a half. We know that if they go to Whataburger, it's $8 to $9 a combo meal. Our boosters set up and pretty much don't make anything. We get sandwiches from Chick-fil-A for like $2, $3. They make cooked hamburgers and French fries, but also have fruit and salad and healthy foods right back here. So I would encourage you to check out. We'll send out more information to the Bandcamp Cafe right here in the corner of our building at the softball concessions. Okay? Again, thank you for being here. Have a good night.